Building an entry-level gaming computer with all the latest components, so DDR5, latest platform, and latest gen GPU, is probably the most difficult segment right now in 2026. However, that makes it also one of the most interesting ones and the one with the most demand from customers. So this is especially interesting if you want to build a PC for yourself, how to build a good one, but also if you're into reselling, PC flipping, something we do around here at ImWateringPSUs, this is especially important to master because a lot of your clients will ask you for this. This is also something that comes around after you sell a used computer. Maybe a few years later, people will come back and ask you for this type of computer. And it's also one of the segments which gets referred to friends and family the most. So it's very important. So with that said, welcome back at ImWateringPSUs, and here we are today with a low to mid-range build. I want to say around the $1,000 mark, probably less if you can build it right, but to sell at around that price or slightly higher, which every single one of you can build, and where we're using quite a bit unique components so that we can still make the build look a little bit different, which will also allow us to sell it, but also to get more performance than the average build on this segment. So let's get straight into the component lists. Now, I want to be very upfront with the new release of the Core Ultra 9 250K Plus and 270K Plus. The market on the CPU side has shifted quite a bit. So currently, I think the absolute best value for money on the entry level is the Core Ultra 5, or as I say, the i5 225F. That's probably the best value for money. It's slightly faster than a Ryzen 5 9600X and generally costs a little bit less. However, here I managed to find a very good deal on the motherboard from this build and also on the CPU. So we're doing this with a Ryzen 5 9600X plus B650. The reason why you may still want to go AM5 is just the motherboard. B650 motherboards, even though they're pretty old at this point, they can do everything you need, and there's no reason to buy a B850 for more money. And if you go Intel, you're going to pay a little bit more for a B860. So you're better off buying a B650 if you can find it for cheap enough. And cheap enough is around $80, probably a little bit less if you can. But that's why we've gotten this Gigabyte motherboard here today. Now we need to populate the SSD and DRAM space. And there's a little trick with DDR5, which not many people discuss. And that is, with most sticks, you're not going to get the same problem as you had on DDR4 running a single stick. So what I'm running here today is a single 16GB 6000 MHz Kingston stick, Kingston Fury Beast. And it's also RGB just by chance, but this stick allows you to enable XMP, or better called EXPO, and to do all the tuning of setting the FCLK equal to the memory clock equal to 2000 MHz on AM5, which gives you more performance. It's also a good base for tuning and allows you to do some good undervolting pair with this to get about 15 to 20% more performance on the CPU side after all of this compared to a stock PC without the EXPO enabled, which is very solid. Now that is if you have enough thermal headroom, and today we're trying something brand new. So we have this Cryorig Gladius Astral. Now Cryorig was very popular back in the day. Nowadays I see it a lot less. I don't know why, because it's a very good brand. It has been around for a while, and they have refreshed the lineup with quite a few interesting products. I featured the Cryorig C5CU, like full copper based cooler, in one of my more budget builds a while ago, but this is their higher end cooler. It's still very cheap. It's cheaper than most 360mm all-in-one water coolers, while actually slightly outperforming most of them, especially the entry-level models from Thermalright or entry-level brands. And the cool thing is it took me less time to build this thing than it took me to install an all-in-one, because I didn't have to install it on the case, and I also just had to screw in 4 screws without removing the fans. Usually when you install a tower air cooler, you have to dismount the fans, install the cooler, put the fans back on. But here everything is pre-connected from the start, pre-daisy chained, pre-connected. You just have to lift off the top of the cooler and slide in the tool they give you to screw it in. They give you the thermal paste, a lot of it actually, so you can use it for next repaste or other builds as well. And it's clearly labeled and very easy to do. As someone who builds a lot of computers every week, getting an easy to install air cooler by itself is very surprising, especially if it is this big and especially if it performs this well. And this cooler also has a great software. It's very simple, but for those kind of displays where you don't really have to change much, I prefer simplicity. It still allows me to sort by CCD if I want to change the input of my CPU temp, and I can change degrees from Celsius to Fahrenheit and set it to start with Windows. So you have my basic customization available, but without bloating my windows. So this is very good cooler, fully recommended, and I really hope to see more Cryorig in the market. This is the first part which we found, which also makes the build stand out a little bit, because most aquarium cases you see either with a small air cooler or with an all-in-one. Now this case is the other very unique part, and this is the Wizmax Woodrian Max BTF. It's also BTF because this is a very versatile case. It's an $89 MSRP case, which means you can find it for very cheap. And as you can see with the wood insert, this is more of a premium oriented case. So ideally you would set all the fans to white or any color you prefer, like a yellow, and the PC would look a lot less gamer-ish and a lot more professional. So it would accommodate for that kind of audience as well. However, it comes with 4 included RGB fans with infinity mirrors on the side and a lot of LEDs actually. It's not too much productivity oriented. Like, I can see this as a gaming machine for sure. But the thing is, the fans are all pre-daisy chained. They have regular 4-pin fan adapters and 3-pin RGB connectors, so it's very easy to build. You just have to connect 2 cables at the end, and also daisy chained the actual CPU cooler, so it's all connected via one connector on the motherboard, which makes so I don't need an extra controller. But the case itself also offers a lot of expandability options, because it comes with 4 fans, but you still have space for 3 120mm fan on the bottom, and also for up to 3 120mm fans up top, and it even has space for 140mm fans, which is very good. You could also do a custom loop in here with 3 radiators. Pretty interesting case, because it's still relatively compact with a double mesh on the back, and also on the back it has a simple bracket for cable management under the PSU, which makes so even though I used exactly 0 zip ties, it was actually like relatively decent looking at the back. And even though I'm using not the best power supply, but power supply wise, since we went with a 5060 over here, now we will discuss the GPU in a second, but since it's a low power hungry card, we could save money on the power supply a little. And now since we are in Italy, iTech is a brand which delivers very good price on their entry-level PSUs. So this BS Evo unit at 650 watts is literally all we need, which also leaves us room to upgrade to a 9700X and 5070, so it's actually decent. Now, GPU choice, if you're trying to replicate a build like this. First of all, I will show you the Firestrike score for this build, which is very good, and this is at stock, so not even counting in if you undervolt and overclock everything, which is what we do around here. You can get a lot more, about 20 to 30% more, depending on how lucky you are and depending on the game. This is very solid. I'll also just quickly show you the CPU Z benchmark, which is impressive. This is with the EXPO enabled, but no tuning. This Ryzen 5 goes very fast, and definitely more than the 5060 needs. And since we're talking benchmarks, here's also the Crystal Disk mark, because to save on storage, you probably figured I missed that. We went with Kingston as well, and we got an MV3 500GB drive. Now, the reason for the single stick of RAM and half a terabyte drive is this is easy to expand. This motherboard has 3 NVMe slots and of course 4 DRAM slots. So hopefully once the prices come down, and they will come down by the way, you can add another 6GB stick of RAM and also maybe a secondary SSD or just a larger SSD that's very easy to slot in. It's also very easy to change your GPU. Now, I think if you're going to build a PC like this, you probably want an entry-level GPU, even though the CPU can do a lot more, that's just to keep the cost down. But if you do have an extra $200 or $300 to spare, you could slot in a 5070 off the get-go. You wouldn't really be CPU limited. So this could be very well a mid-range PC build. I would say perfect match for this CPU is all the way up to an RX 9070, 9060 XT, even 16GB one is perfect, and of course 5060, 5060 Ti, even a 5070. I wouldn't really go higher than that. Intel side, sure, you can put an Intel Arc B580 in there, or you can always go the used route, and currently I find RTX 4070, especially the 4070 Super, they are very cheap and actually a very good choice if you're into delving into the used market a little bit. However, as usual, I want to hear what you guys think. Would you change anything with this build, and did you build anything similar? Also, if you're a flipper or someone who sells PCs, what do you think about a build like this? Do you think it's gonna sell well? Let me know down below. And as usual, thanks a lot for watching. See you guys in the next one. Bye bye.